Ladies and gentlemen, a 12-round bout for the PKA Lightweight Championship of the world. The officials for this bout, scoring judges Tim Button, Rudy Beltran, and Rod Prejin. The kick judges are Ed Adams and David Chavez. Introducing first in the blue corner, from Lake Worth, Florida. He's 30 years old. He stands 5 foot 11 inches tall, weighed in this morning at 137 pounds. He has a contact karate record of 14 wins, 5 losses, and no draws, with 8 of his wins by knockout. He is the PKA number 9th world ranked lightweight contender, the challenger, Garry Garner. And in the red corner from El Paso, he's 29 years old, 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighed 139 pounds. He has a contact karate record of 29 wins, 4 losses, no draws, 16 KOs. He is the PKA Lightweight Champion of the world, Cliff Thomas.
Well, both fighters summoned to the center of the ring as the crowd starts to settle in for the start of this one tonight in El Paso.
This is a title fight. I expect you to conduct yourselves accordingly. The 3 knockdown rule is waived. The standing 8 count rule is waived. There will be no standing 8 count. There will be no 3 knockdown rule to stop the fight. Keep your kicks up and make them strong. Watch your spinning techniques. Make sure you only hit with the padded part of the gloves. Do not use these ropes to hold on to defend or to attack. If you get your opponent through the ropes, get off of him. You will be penalized. Clinching is against the rules, 2 warnings, and then you will start losing points. Let's have a good fight, man.
Well, a good look at this man, the world champion Cliff Thomas, in 1963. Open heart surgery to repair a literally hole in his heart. They gave him but 2 years to live. That was when he was back, what, 12 years of age or so? And now all of a sudden here he is. He has lived on to the ripe age of 28 and is the world champion, fighting Garry Garner here tonight. He said he kept gaining strength every year. His parents wanted him to do whatever he could. He got himself into karate just to simply protect himself, and now look what it's led to. National recognition as a world champion. And this is round 1 of the scheduled 12-rounder. Thomas again will be in the black on the left with the gold stripe, while in the black with the red and white stripe will be the challenger, Garry Garner. Both are 5'11", 137 for the challenger, 139 the weight for the champion.
Garner has to be feeling just tremendous pressure, I think, to come into this El Paso. Really, it's quite a snake pit down here for Cliff Thomas. I mean, the fans really do come out. They really do get vocal in their support. There's a lot of pressure on a guy like Garry Garner coming in here and taking all of this on. You
got my attention by calling it a snake pit. I looked under me real quickly there. Thomas again. What kind of fight do you anticipate him to fight against Garner here, Willie? He's rather cautious right now. Is he going to get more aggressive here? Is that his style?
Historically, Thomas is a guy that does pick up the pace as time goes on. And I think he'll want to try to end this fight kind of early if he can. I don't think he'll want to see this go to a decision, because I think Garner, being a number 9 ranked contender, Thomas is not going to like the idea of having a guy that's number 9 take him to 12 rounds.
Kind of an axe kick that time, attempted by Garner, slid off the arm of Thomas. Garner with a golden opportunity. He, without a doubt, calls this his biggest break of his career. And the fact that several fighters have tried to duck the champion. And it's no secret that they are Furman Garcia along with Mark Gurley. At least that's what the champion tells us.
Garcia says he's not ready for Thomas yet. He's ranked number 10, I believe. And Mark Gurley, at number 4 spot, is a guy that should be thinking about Thomas if he wants to stay that rated that high in the ratings.
Good hands that time by Garner as he backs the champions onto the rope. By the way, Michel Orochette is the Canadian, is the only other fighter besides the man in the ring right now in the top 10 that Thomas has not beaten. That simple fact that they haven't fought yet. That's the bell to end round 1 of the scheduled 12-rounder. Both fighters looking as if they didn't want to end that first round, as you get a good look at the champion, Cliff Thomas. Ishmael Robles, by the way, will be working in his corner. George Villa will be the man who will be giving instructions to the champion here. Ishmael Robles again, who was knocked out in that 5th round earlier.
Actually, that's Fernando Robles. It's Ishmael's brother leaning over the ropes there. I think Ishmael probably had to go and get
that eye taken care of. This is the other side of the ring, and Garry Garner. Garner at 30 years of age, 5'11", really doesn't have that many fights as you see the people working in the corner with him. He's fought only 19 fights with 8 knockouts. But again, felt that he well deserved that number 9 ranking, and certainly a shot here at the champion right now. We get ready for the start of round 2. Scheduled for 12. Second of 2 world titles up for grabs here tonight in El Paso. Leroy Taylor has already successfully defended in the light welterweight division with a 5th round TKO win over Ishmael Robles.
It's interesting to watch Cliff Thomas. He seems to direct his gaze right down about the midsection of Garry Garner. A lot of fighters like to watch the person's eyes, but a lot of fighters feel like they can keep a better fix on where the kicks are going to come from when they watch the midsection.
Some of the great basketball coaches will tell a defensive player to watch the belt buckle. The belt buckle, where it goes, that's where the guy will be. And that's certainly what Thomas must think as well in his fighter with Garner. A brief chant of magic, which is the nickname of the champion Cliff Thomas in the background.
Well, Garner thus far in the fight has done pretty well, actually. He's handling this pressure pretty well, and he's coming out here and mixing up with Cliff Thomas pretty effectively.
Garner said he wanted to win this title and take his back to Florida for a title defense, so maybe wake up the dead. He said they didn't support karate as they do here in El Paso. And certainly they don't support karate in a lot of places like they do in El Paso. They love it here in the Sun City. Cliff Thomas certainly is their claim to fame. Ishmael Robles has been adopted by this city, but that, of course, hopes for a world title for him may officially gone out the window tonight.
Well, Hillary Sandoval and his family have done a great job in this town of promoting the sport. As we see Garner there starting to unload a pretty good series of punches on his own.
Thomas, pretty good left uppercut. Back Garner up on the ropes. Garner using that front kick to kind of keep Thomas off of him, doing a good job. Both fighters. As a matter of fact, right now, Garner's been credited for 20 kicks in this 2nd round already. A dozen for the champion.
But Cliff Thomas does seem to just increase intensity with every round. It's like he'll wade in and take a few punches and kind of see what the other guy's got.
That's the bell to end round 2. Well, there was rumors going around that Cheech and Chong were going to be here to do the fights tonight, but we overruled that bit vigorously. Sam Smith along with John Worley. Cheech and Chong will be here tomorrow in El Paso, performing here in this same Civic Center. And they're certainly enjoying themselves after enjoying some of the fine Mexican food here at the Sun City. Cliff Thomas again doing a good job in this fight tonight against Garry Garner as the whistle is sound to get the 2nd sound, and we're ready for the start of round 3. Scheduled for 12, and Thomas comes out with that quick round kick to introduce himself to Garner in a hurry. Good spinning back kick, well executed by Thomas, but Garner comes right back with a couple of solid round kicks. John Worley, unofficially, you're scoring for tonight's fight.
At this point, I've got a 2019 Garner. I gave the 1st round to Garner, had the 2nd round even. So Thomas, which is kind of a history thing for him, he does start a little slow sometimes, and he is doing that tonight.
Cliff Thomas with those very visible scars on his chest after being operated on in 1963 to literally close a hole in his heart. Not given, but maybe a couple of years to live, and that was many moons ago. And now here he is, fighting another defense of his title in the lightweight division of PKA Karate.
This is Thomas's 7th defense of the title.
Said he'd like to stay even maybe a little busier than he is. Thomas, who by the way operates his own karate school here in El Paso. Graduate of Bel Air High School in El Paso. Makes his home here, plans to live out his life here. Really loves it. Father brought him here in the Army, 1963. There's the chant for magic again coming up for Thomas to do something here.
Thomas taking more shots than he should be taking at this point. He's running into a lot of the punches of Garry Garner and trying to land his own left punch.
Keep in mind that Garner, with only 8 knockouts in his 19 fights, again does possess that one big hand. That could certainly send Thomas reeling and get him into trouble. Thomas with 16 knockouts in his 33 fights.
Thomas, I'm sure, is figuring that if this fight does go long, that he's been there and Garner hasn't.
Little kibitzing, word-wise, between rounds from Garner to Thomas.
Stand back and kick him a little bit more, Cliff. Your kicks are looking good. Stand back and use your legs.
You hurt him on the body, you let him go, you hit him in the corner. That's what you do.
Push that body, the boy hurt. You ain't got no problem.
We're winning.
Every time you hit him in the body, he's winning.
It's on my head. Okay, we go this round, okay? You're not throwing the number of punches that you were throwing in the gym. You were throwing a heck of a lot more punches in the gym. This guy's holding you off with his legs. Push him aside. Come in with a punch.
We see Cliff Thomas here throwing a good little jump back kick. Comes right over the top of Garner's leg and gets into the body, knocking him back into the ropes.
So as the champion, Cliff Thomas, will come across the ring at Garry Garner. We get ready for the start of round number 4. Scheduled for 12 here tonight. The lightweight championship hanging in the balance with Thomas the champion and Garner the challenger. John, your unofficial scoring through the first 3.
I still have Garner up by 1 because of this type of thing. Thomas standing around too much, letting Garner get off too many punches.
Thomas trying to counter off that rope with that spinning kick. Comes with a good solid round kick that backs Garner up.
When Thomas lost his fight against Tony Rosser, it was because he wasted too many rounds in thinking that he continued thinking he was going to knock Rosser out. He kept thinking, I'll finally catch up to him. He gave up too many rounds to Rosser's jab. The next time they fought, the time after that, Thomas came back and really took the fight to Rosser.
He said one of the things he did the second time against Tony Rosser is he used his kick much better. You amplified it on it. He tried to knock him out with the hands. Came back in the second time he fought after losing it and got more kicks in and won the title back. He, by the way, has held 4 titles. The featherweight title he won in 1980. The lightweight in 81, he lost it to Tony Rosser, regained it in 83 with a win over Rosser, and then won a light welterweight championship over Tommy Williams, which he relinquished. And the fact you can hold but 1 of the championships in PKA, and he's taken the lightweight.
He's getting some complaints right now. Garner complaining because of a low kick. Garner so far this round has scored more blows. Thomas seems to just lean in there and take too many of those.
Thomas looking a little bit tired as we near the end here of the 4th, as he just kind of leans and tries to take a little rest here as you see the closing seconds of round 4. Kind of explodes like a cobra with that left hand on Garner. Both stay active in the clinch as we near the end of round 4, the schedule for 12. Good look at Garry Garner as the challenger, fighting on against Cliff Thomas here tonight. Let's pick up some replay of round 4, John.
We've seen quite a bit of this of Garry Garner throwing a multiple series of punches. Cliff Thomas just kind of hanging back and taking them, not being hurt by them, but allowing Garner to rack up points. Thomas likes to land the big left hand. That's what he's trying to do. I think he says, well, I'll take a few of these guys' punches, and then I'll come along and knock him out. So far, he hasn't been able to get that good, clean left shot.
Well, this is round number 5 as we're set for 12. The lightweight world championship fight here tonight from El Paso, the hometown of Cliff Thomas. Thomas with his back to you right now against the challenger, Garry Garner. Garner, as you saw in that replay, a very strategic fight so far. Thomas trying to wade through a few of those round kicks now to land some body shots. Front kick getting into the solar plex of Garner that time.
Thomas is going to have to get busier. I'm sure in his corner they're talking to him about you've got to throw more stuff. You can't stand around and take so many things.
Interesting question by Thomas in between rounds. He said, am I winning? They said, if you don't go out and become more active, you may not. So apparently he's taking him to heart from his corner and fighting here against Johnny. And cheer for Magic comes up again.
Thomas is has always had success wearing down his opponents. He's usually much stronger than the guys he fights. And he just wears them down, leans on them, pushes them, and batters them until he's able to land those good, hard, clean shots.
By the way, if you're wondering if indeed Thomas would ever go up to that light welterweight and stay, he said he wanted to work up in weight gradually if indeed he went up. Lightweight being his more natural weight, and you can see why, because he's a very, very strong lightweight fighting here tonight. Losing his balance as he falls into Garner. Under 25 seconds here of round 5.
Thomas more active in this round than he's been thus far in the fight. And having his best round, I think.
Both fighters starting to clinch a little bit more here as we reach the end of this 5th round. Bob Yarnell getting a warning there for a possible deduction of points, and more holding as the warning went to Garner, and then he turned and talked to Thomas about the same tactic. Garner comes to his corner looking for the stool. Thomas is already there getting a well-deserved rest.
Some side kicks and some hook kicks working. He's open for a hook kick. He's getting right on the nose with it.
When he's pressing you, his head against your chest. All you got to do is just step back and pick him up and uppercut, pull up to the right. Okay? You're not throwing one combination so far.
Hold the distance a little bit and give me some kicks. Kicks are scoring from the outside.
Round 6 coming up. You heard him, but you let him go. Stay on him. Smother him with punches and kicks.
You gotta get those kicks in though.
Thomas again, as John pointed out, kind of likes to come on in a hurry, and here he is again in replay in round 5.
You see Thomas coming in with a front kick followed up with a bunch of punches. He just kind of slid out there and ended up kind of making a tackle, it looked like, on Garry Garner.
Almost came into your living room where you're watching the kick of the 80s. PKA Karate, Sam Smith and John Worley tonight from the El Paso Convention Center, El Paso, Texas. John's been scoring here at ringside, and John, how about after 5?
I gave the 5th round to Thomas. I've got the fight 49-48 unofficially. Still, Garry Garner in the lead based on that early build-up of points in the first 3 rounds.
Now Garner's starting to get a little bit on his horse. Thomas at a press conference says Garner has Adidas written on the bottom of his feet. He likes to run so much, but he hasn't been able to run tonight. And the Adidas don't hold there. It's ruled by a sweat by Bob Yarnell. The crowd thought it was a knockdown, but no.
Between rounds, they were on Thomas about throwing more punches, throwing more kicks, throw the hook kicks, throw the body punches. On paper, Garner's a guy that shouldn't really be in 6 rounds here with Cliff Thomas, but here we are in the 6th.
John, you get the impression that technique has been almost thrown out the window. It's going to be the one with the stamina here is going to win this fight.
A lot of pushing and shoving and leaning. Not a real pretty fight thus far.
Many thought our light welterweight title fight tonight was going to be the one to go longer than this fight. And indeed, Leroy Taylor finally got the TKO and a cut on Ismael Robles with a TKO in the 5th. Now here we are in the 6th round of this, the lightweight fight.
Good right hand then. Thomas leaning into Garner's right hand.
Garner still fighting a tactically very good fight here against the champion Thomas. Thomas trying to run in for a couple of shots, and Garner turns him around as we near the end of 6. Welcome back to the Civic Center here in El Paso as we get ready for the start of round 7 of the scheduled 12-round World Lightweight Championship fight. The champion Cliff Thomas against the challenger Garry Garner. Thomas on the right, Garner on the left. A mauling, brawling last 2 or 3 rounds by both fighters here.
Nice round kick then. Garner landing up on the head. Thomas starting to throw his kicks with more power now, more commitment. Instead of just laying him in there, he's stinging him now, but he hasn't really landed effective. Oh, nice left hook.
Left hook has got Garner seeing stars here in El Paso. He's up, but he's dazed. Let's see if the magic of the champion Cliff Thomas is there, and it is. There's the left hook, and this one looks like it's over.
That's it. It's over.
This one is over. Thomas again nailing for the first knockout, and then the first punch after the knockdown he finished it. Let's watch that first knockdown.
Here it comes. Thomas kind of leaning in like he did for the whole fight. He just throws a left hook there. It doesn't look like it's that hard, but it caught Garner right on the chin. Obviously did damage.
At that point, he was looking right at us, and his eyes were very glazed. I thought it might be over then.
And here's the one that really did it. Another hard left hand, kind of hit up high on the head, but that first left hook did the job.
That left hand came from nearby Las Cruces, New Mexico, and landed square on the button of Garry Garner. And this fight was over, even though referee Bob Yarnell would finish off the count. Again, Thomas would not answer the count, and the fight was officially over. Let's get the official time of this knockout in the 7th from the ring announcer.
Ladies and gentlemen, a 7th round KO with 58 seconds into the round, and still the lightweight champion of the world, Cliff Magic Thomas.
Well, the words of the ring announcer pretty well speak the truth, as only 3 of the top 10 now have not fallen to this man, as he's beaten 7 of the 10 in the top 10, and Thomas wants